an associate director for inspections. And I just want to say I look forward to working with you and assisting you with your inspections related issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we have Associate Director Val Carey.
Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces here. My name is Valerie Carey. I am the Associate Director for Enforcement. My division is responsible for enforcing the property maintenance codes for residential and commercial properties in Prince George's County. We're also responsible for enforcing the zoning violations in Prince George's County. And as if that isn't enough, we're also responsible for the licensing of any rentals in Prince George's County, be they apartment complexes, single family homes, or the more popular Airbnbs. So I'm here to hear you. I'm here to listen to any concerns you may have in your community. And I thank you for joining this community partners meeting again. I enjoy seeing the faces in the community. Some of these faces I recognize.
Thank you very much. Do you have Assistant Associate Director Tibbs with you today?
No, she had a family emergency.
Okay. Sorry for her with that, but now Associate Director Mary Giles.
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be back at Community Partners. My name is Mary Giles. I'm the Associate Director of DPI's Site Road Plan Review Division. We review land development permits, things like constructing new roads, storm drain, stormwater management. We review floodplain studies, utility permits for utility work in the streets, grading permits. If you have any questions along those lines today, I'd be happy to answer them. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I saw Michelle Lyons on. Michelle, if you could step to the virtual platform.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Lyons, and I am the administrator for the Office of Boards and Commissions, which includes the Building Board, and the Building Board approves all residential builders and hears complaints from citizens in reference to construction problems with the residential builders. I'm also the administrator for the Nuisance Abatement Board, which handles nuisance complaints that are referred to us not by citizens, but by agencies which issue violations and citations. And I'm also the administrator for the Electrical Board, which now only license master electricians, but also hears and reviews complaints received by citizens in reference to the electrical board or electricians and their work. And last but not least, I'm also the administrator for the Tower Committee, which is called the TTFC, and we meet monthly to review all cell towers or co-locations, which are antenna attachments to existing facilities within Prince George's County. Welcome to the building, to the Community Partners meeting. I hope that you will all gain something exciting from us today, and any questions that you have, we will all be here to assist you.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Michelle works 5 jobs, so she gets paid for 1. Okay, thank you. Now we'll move into our PowerPoint presentation. Ed? Thank you very much. We every time we do community partners, each of the agencies presents a PowerPoint. We're going to go ahead and start with the one from DPI today. You'll be given access to these because they'll all be published this afternoon on our website. So I'm not going to go through every single slide, but I do want to sort of hit some high places for you. So Ed, if we could go to the next page, please. Here you'll have a few words from Director Bowling. Feel free to read those. She's always inspirational and informational with her messages. Next page, please. This is a slide that we included that shows some of our hard working staff. You can take a look at them. On the far left, we have people from the Enforcement Division who are working virtually at a hearing. They have hearings that they do online. I think that started during COVID and it has continued. So they get together and talk to judges and lawyers and the prosecutors or whoever the enforcers are on the other end who work with people who are violating code. They do that weekly, I believe. The next group is our some of our permit staff. On the far left there, you see permit manager Clarence Mosley, and those are some of the people who work with him. Then we have another scene from our permit center where a lady came in who had some violations with her spouse and her daughter, and we talked to her about how to get those violations taken care of. In the next scene, we have Inspector Juan Swan doing an inspection of a structure. He works for Bedad, one of our inspections division team members. And on the far right there, we have Inspector Ron Waters, also from enforcement, who was doing an inspection at a senior citizens apartment complex. DPI inspects senior citizen complexes, I think it's every 3 months, to make sure that everything is working right with those. Next slide, please. Every month, DPI has a sort of mini community partners meeting. We call them our monthly community information sessions. They're held on the third Thursday of each month from 11 a.m. to noon. The topics vary. We have speakers who are available. We give a brief presentation. We take questions. The last one we did was an open forum where the entire program was answering questions from citizens. We paired people off with experts in the agency, and it worked really, really well. We'll be doing another one of those in a few months. We've got one coming up on October 20th. So every third Thursday of the month from 11 to 12, take your lunch hour early and join us for third Thursday. Next slide, please. The next slide here is an agency overview of DPI. On the far left, you have our leadership, including Director Bowling, Deputy Director Abraham, and our new Deputy Director, our boss, my boss, Director Hinton. The people that you just heard from a few minutes ago, each of their divisions is highlighted there in different colors with their contact information, including their phone numbers. So you're welcome to reach out to them if you have, anything that you'd like to ask them directly. You're also always welcome to contact my office, Public Information, and we can connect you with the appropriate, person in the agency to respond. Next slide. Okay, DPI evidently works, evidenced by today, works closely with DOE and DPW&T. So the next few slides here basically break down what we do, what they do. There's sometimes confusion because sometimes we do sort of cross-pollinate in our responsibilities. So the next slides will take you through that. Ed, if we can go to the next one. That's DOE, the next one. DPW&T, and the next one. These are some other agencies that we work closely with: the Police Department, the Revenue Authority, the State Highway Administration, and of course, PGC 311, which would be your initial stop to request any kind of service or to report any kind of complaint in Prince George's County. Their contact information is also listed there in case you need to reach out to anybody there. Next slide. The municipalities, we share responsibilities for some of our functions with the municipalities in Prince George's County. So this chart will tell you what they do and what we do, will help you to know who to reach out to in situations where you may require assistance. Next slide. Who handles that? The third Thursday community information session for last month was a presentation called Who Handles That? Once again, it was an opportunity for us to present to you some of the different agencies and some of the responsibilities that each have to help you reach out to the appropriate person. You'll have access to that entire presentation if you click here. Next slide. Same thing with trash. We have violations that people sometimes don't know how to resolve. So on the left, you'll see the violation. On the right, you'll see the solution, the place in the county where you can reach out to get something done to address your violation. Next slide. Okay, the DPI Dirty Dozen, we started off with 10, and then the enforcement's leadership wanted us to add a couple of additional ones. So the list is there. I won't read them all. They include, of course, operating a business without, a permit. Some businesses are allowed, but many are not. So to make sure that you are in the right place, if you're thinking of opening a business, you can go to our website. It'll give you some information about that. Performing automotive work on a street, always bad, never a good thing, and always a violation. Also in your driveway, you can't do it in your backyard, you can't do it. That's one that we get frequent complaints about and one that the Enforcement Division is really working hard on right now. Several different trash and dumping violations, parking violations. The last two are sort of focuses for this time, raising livestock. Once again, enforcement is getting a lot of complaints from people who are raising chickens, roosters, not so many pot-bellied pigs, but some of those, and some exotic pets that aren't allowed in residential zones. You may not raise something that's not a pet, in a residential zone, and you need to check with us before you do, to make sure that you don't get one of those lovely citations that they hand out in situations like that. And the last one is posting signs in public rights of way. DPI works closely with DPW&T and State Highway to make sure that people understand that you cannot put those little signs on the side of the road. And if you have political signs, they are required to be removed in a certain period of time. We'll be doing a sign blitz to address signs in the public rights of way on October 5th. So you'll see county vehicles out there addressing those signs. Fines can go up to $1,000 per those signs. And you want to make sure that if you're advertising your babysitting service or your lawn service or your piano lessons, that you do not do it on a sign on the side of the road. Next slide, please. Okay, vehicle violations in residential zones. We get a lot of questions and complaints about these. Some vehicles are allowed, even some commercial vehicles. So this slide will give you some information about which ones you can have in a residential area and which ones you may not have in a residential area. And there's some additional information on our website that you can access as well. Next slide. We talked about auto repair shops at home, a violation. Next slide, please. Neglected shopping centers and other commercial properties violate county code. Our zoning team is working really, really hard to address violations in commercial properties. They have the same requirements of people who own businesses, structures, parking lots, shopping centers, all of that. You are required by code to keep those places clean. There are some additional requirements that you have to have. They're listed here. We have a slogan at DPI, don't litter the landscape. Seems like this picture here where, which was taken at the back of a building, those create litter and pose litter just as much as somebody would have dumped, 50 trash bags on the side of the road. So we really, really are working diligently in our enforcement division, the zoning section, to address these issues. Please report these kind of problems to PGC 311. They'll be routed to the zoning team and they will get an investigation going on those. Next slide. Okay, another thing, just, trash in residential areas. This slide just talks a little bit about, once again, not to litter the landscape. Just be conscious of what you have on your property and realize that you can be damaging the aesthetics as well as the property values in your own community where you own real estate, where you have an investment, if you don't make sure that you keep your properties code compliant. Next slide. We are partnering with the Department of Public Works and Transportation and the county on the Growing Green with Pride initiative. DPI has our own initiative called Beautify and Comply While Growing Green with Pride. Beautify and Comply is a program where every time the seasons change, you're asked to make sure that your property is compliant with code while you're beautifying it. So in summer, as you're bringing out your lawn chairs and getting the pool all ready, we ask that you take a look at your property and make sure that you don't have peeling paint, loose siding, make sure that you trim your plants, remove old appliances, etc., to make sure that the property is compliant with code while you beautify. And during the twice a year Growing Green with Pride initiatives, we ask that you take a look at your property and make sure, once again, that while you're focusing on being a good steward of the environment, that you take a look and make sure that you're also being code compliant. Next slide. The Nuisance Abatement Board. You heard Michelle talk about this a few minutes ago. Michelle, if you're there, let me give you the helm here for a minute, and you can explain a little bit about the Nuisance Abatement Board if you don't mind.
All right. The Nuisance Abatement Board, of course, hears complaints that allege that there are acts of public peace and endangerment of health, life, and safety of our residents. The cases are referred to us by, as I spoke before, it has to be like the police department, the fire department, the health department, municipalities, code enforcement officers, because those agencies can verify that there is a violation or a citation. That's the only reason why citizens cannot call us directly to give us complaints. We will take those emails and those complaints and forward them to the appropriate agencies, but we cannot take the actual complaint from the citizen themselves. After that complaint comes to us, there's a board that is set up with the police department representative, the fire department representative, DPI representative, and if we have to call in other agencies, we will. But then there are citizen members that also sit to be able to hear those complaints and make a decision, not just from the county, but also to include those that are involved in communities. The board, after hearing those hearings, decides whether we will assess a fine, and the fines are $1,000, but sometimes if the board feels that a person has made advances toward remedying the whatever the allegations or the violation is, they may not charge $1,000. They may just charge $500. They may not charge any fine if we feel that you have tried to adjudicate whatever the issue is prior to us having the hearing. A lot of times when the summons are sent out, the actual person or company will take care of the issues prior to the hearing. And when that happens, we allow them to work directly with the agency that brought the complaint to be able to verify that there is no longer a violation in the community or the issue has been resolved within that particular area or with the person who actually started the complaint or initiated the complaint. And basically what that board wants to do is to restore to the neighborhood peace. Each one of us pay for our homes, and that's the biggest investment that we make. And we certainly want the quality of life to be that we have always had in Prince George's County. And that is all the board does, is try to restore that. And we actually have a hearing. Sometimes we have to have it twice a month because we have so many complaints, but usually it's the third Thursday of every month, and it starts at 9:30. It is a public hearing. It is advertised on our webpage. It is also on the county's webpage. So you can either go to DPI's webpage or to Prince George's County webpage. It is a Zoom link, and you may listen in to hear exactly the type of cases that come before the board. Thank you. That's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Michelle. Next slide, please. The administrative hearing unit, you can read here, but the unit, I don't think we have Eric with us today, the administrator for that, but the AHU handles complaints about unlawful vehicles, open storage, etc. They also handle citations issued for unpermitted construction and short-term rental violations. And the AHU is being used to shorten the time it takes to adjudicate these cases significantly. Anybody who gets a citation has 30 days to request a hearing. The hearings are held within 30 days of that. And the administrative hearing officers make a decision within 5 days of that. So it moves that process much faster than the process, when it has to go to court, and it may take, 90 days, 120 days or more to adjudicate. Next slide. PGC 311. Please read this slide very, very carefully. As we said previously, PGC 311 is the entity created by the county to accept your request for service and your complaints about potential code violations or other problems. Please utilize them. They even have a mechanism now whereby you can get updates on your complaints through that agency. That's very, very helpful to us. The different information here is presented here for you. If you have any additional questions, they are really, really responsive about keeping people apprised of what's going on their end. If you have anything directly for DPI, you're welcome to reach out to us, but you should always start with the PGC 311 called or reported online. Next slide. Now we're going to talk about how you can get additional information from us on a constant basis. Our public information office is always available to provide information to you, to answer questions for you under the Maryland Public Information Act. We publish monthly bulletins. We publish a monthly newsletter. We just try to be a good resource for you as far as getting information. So make sure to access that that information and let us know if there's anything that we don't have up there that you need. We're happy to provide it for you. Next slide. We also have information in other languages. So this slide will tell you about how to access that. We'll be doing our community partners meeting in Spanish. It's not the same as this. We call it community partners because we reach out to our Spanish speaking community partners in a couple of months. So watch the DPI website and the DPI newsletters for information about that as well. Next slide. Thank you very much for letting me present today. And we will, with that, we'll stop our presentation and I will bring forward to the microphone my colleague Linda Lowe, getting my L's confused here, sorry. Linda Lowe is the Public Information Officer for the Department of the Environment. She is one of the most knowledgeable people that I've met since I've been at DPI. She is a cheerful resource who is always willing to help colleagues. I'm sure in her agency, and I know certainly outside of her agency, whether it be, tracking down some information I need for one of our director's initiatives or helping, respond to a citizen. She is always there, always helpful, and just a wonderful, wonderful public information officer and professional. Linda?
Good morning, community partners. Thank you, Avis, for that wonderful introduction. It's always a pleasure to work with Avis and our fellow colleague, Paulette Jones over in DPW&T. So welcome, community partners. It's been a while. We haven't seen you since the last one, which was in April during Earth Month, hosted by DOE. And, after this one, we'll see you for the event scheduled in later this year and hosted by DPW&T. Our Director Andrea Kroons, is unable to join us today for the meeting, but she has her special assistant. You formerly know him as Chief Rodney Taylor. He is now the special assistant in our Office of the Director, and he is going to walk you through our presentation. And if you have any questions, you can please put them in the chat. Brittany Garner and I, who is sharing her screen with our presentation, will be happy to assist you and answer anything that we can. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Rodney Taylor to take over. Thank you, Rodney.
Great. Thank you so much, Linda. I certainly appreciate that. And thank you, Ms. Avis, for such a wonderful presentation by DPI as well. Community partners, I'm just glad to be here today to present on behalf of our director, Ms. Andrea Kroons, and our deputy director, Ms. Michelle Russell. So our community partners meeting, it's exciting times for the community to have this type of access to information. What a great time that we live in now. We can move to our next slide. Also, we're excited to let you know that we want you to save the date. October the 22nd is our Green Summit. So it's our 8th annual Green Summit at DOE. We'll be presenting. It will be held at the Kent Land Community Center in Landover. We will have workshop presentations, videos. It's a fun day for your whole entire family. So please come out and be a part of this. You can sign up. You see the email address there where you can sign up, pay us a visit, as well as, and I want to make sure you get this here. We're going to do something special this year at the Green Summit. We're going to have an animal adoption event. So if you're looking for the love of your life that you still need, we have a pet for you. We have a pet for you. So if you come out that day and watch this, as all the requirements are met, you can go home with your pet that day. Some animals may need to be spayed neutered, so you may have to do that a couple of days later. But if everything is there, he's already spayed neutered, he got all his shots, you better take him home that day. So please come out. We're excited just to have our adoption staff from the Animal Service Facility there with some volunteers to make that happen for us. All right, so our next slide. Hey, we want to introduce Spencer the Sprout. So Spencer, get ready. You'll see Spencer all over Prince George's County. Spencer is now our new environmental mascot for DOE. He's used to educate children, young adults on the importance of keeping our waterways clean. And Spencer is part of DOE's anti-litter educational framework that includes a series of marine debris activity books for grades K through 12. So get ready as you see Spencer all over Prince George's County. You might want to get a picture with him, but he's going to be famous real soon. Next slide. Our beautification campaign. So as you know, in Prince George's County, I mean, this comes from the county exec, and you'll hear this from all the various departments in our county. We certainly want to beautify Prince George's County. We want to bring it back to the beautification that we know that it can be and that it has had. So DO is willing, and we're going to put a special focus this year, this fall, and also in the spring on enforcing illegal dumping. So we're going to be issuing fines as well as prosecuting offenders. We're coming up with a lot of ideas to really enforce this. We have to stop all this illegal dumping in Prince George's County. And believe me, I understand we're a pass-through county, comes from various counties, so people just drop trash, mattresses, tires. You see it all over the county, but I'm excited from the county exec down to our director that we're really putting an emphasis now on bettering our county and beautifying our county with the prosecution of offenders that illegally dump in Prince George's County. Next slide. Our Animal Services Division, we're grateful for our leadership there, Ms. Terry Littlejohn, our Deputy Associate Director, Ms. Vanessa, who's down there as a Deputy Associate Director as well. We want to just let you all know that we're now open for browsing, what we call window shopping. You know, during the COVID time at the Animal Service Facility, we had to make appointments to even come into the facility. As you know, we had to keep track of the number of people coming to the facility for purpose that of COVID. But now we're back, we're open. We're back open again. You can come to the facility, you can walk around, you can look around and see if you see the love of your life. And if you do, you have to make an appointment for the adoption portion of it. But we want you to know you can come. Now, the Animal Services Division also have new operating hours. So we're now closed on Sundays and Mondays, but we'll be open Tuesday through Saturday. And those are the hours that you see before you there. Okay, next slide. At the Animal Service Facility, at an adoption center, we have this month, it's our Bow Wow Dog Luau Month. So this is a special adoption event that's taking place. Again, you want the love of your life, this is the place to find them. Animals that already been spayed or neutered, have all their shots. It's only $10 to adopt an animal during the month of September. So we know time is running out, so please get down there and see if you can find the love of your life. Now, if the animal has not been spayed or neutered, you would just pay the price of $125 plus your $10 license fee. All the adoption fees portion of it has been waived. So hopefully you'll come down and adopt a pet from us. Next slide. Spay Today. So we have a spay neuter grant here in Prince George's County. We've had it now for the last 3 or 4 years. And most people don't know, but 2 cents of all the pet food that's purchased in the state of Maryland goes to a state fund. And every animal organization in the state of Maryland can apply for this grant. Well, Prince George's County, we apply and we've received it every year. And what we do, we get funds to offer free spay neuter services. So if you have a pet that still needs to be spayed neutered, please reach out to the animal shelter. We have a grant that we can get that done for you for free. And if your animal don't have a rabies vaccination at that time, you can get that for free as well. So please take advantage of this special grant process. Next slide. I love this program here. This is our foster program at the Animal Service Facility. Because, you know, sometimes we just don't have the time and we may not can adopt a pet and keep it for life, but we still want to play a part. We just want to still be able to help some animal in some way. Well, we have a foster program. So you can become a foster parent, which means that you can take in an animal. Here's the good part. You can love on it for 3 weeks and then find it a home. Right? So the foster parent is someone that can take an animal, maybe it'd be a kitten that needs some tender loving care or just need to be fed, it's too young, mama's not around. You could do that, or a puppy just needs some socialization. But please become one of our foster parents. And here's the hope. If you foster for 3 weeks, it probably end up staying with you. You'll fall in love with it. Thank you. Next slide. Also in Prince George's County, the Prince George's SPCA, which is a nonprofit organization, animal organizations in the county, offer low cost, actually spay neuter vaccination clinics. And it's actually on Sunday, October the 2nd. They will have this, and it's on DRC Road. This is the information. Rabies vaccinations are 15. You can get a distemper vaccination for 15. You can even get microchips for 30. Please take advantage of this here. It's a walk-in. You don't need an appointment. You just come in, you can line it. It's from 1 to 3, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. It's the first Sunday of every month. I promise you, if you go to a vet on your own and you have to go in and get these vaccinations, you're gonna pay a whole lot more money. So take advantage of this low-cost vaccination clinic. Next slide. Stormwater management led by our great associate director, Mr. Jeff Dehan. He's also online. He'll be on to answer any questions that may come in at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Here we want to talk about the rain check rebate program in the stormwater management practices. So residential, so everybody needs to know, we've increased the maximum rebate fee to $6,000, $6,000. The commercial properties, multi-family dwellings, the nonprofit one, it stayed at $20,000. But you want to take advantage of this right here because, hey, you can get a little recheck, a rebate, get a check, come in the mail to you, and you're also helping the environment by rain barrel, urban tree canopies, rain gardens. So please, we want you to take advantage of this and be a part of helping our society and our economy. Here we have our urban gardens. So here's what I want to say about the urban gardens. Growing urban meadow is portion of your yard can attract butterflies and even the birds that you want to see. Here's something you can do with the urban meadow garden. You can take portion of your yard. You get a landscaping company that can help you do this. And you don't even have to cut the grass because you can let that grow up. You have certain flowers you put in there to draw butterflies, to draw certain birds that you're interested in seeing. But now, let me explain to you, by no means, we want you to think you can make your whole entire yard an urban meadow garden where you don't have to cut your grass at all. We're not saying that, but please take advantage of this here so we can draw butterflies back to our area, hummingbirds and just birds, beautification for the county. Next slide. How to get your rebate. So this here explains the process of how to get your, determine what practice are suitable for your property, fill out and submit your rebate application. You want to schedule a pre-installation visitation so the expert can come out and show you what you need to do. Then you just install the practice. Schedule your post so they can come out and say, yep, you've done it, and your check will be in the mail. It's sent to you from the Office of Finance. Here's a slide, just kind of gives you an idea of what the rebate is, what they pay out. For trees is $150. For your rain barrels, you want $2 a gallon. You want to take at least up to 50 gallons. So this slide here just explains to you the rebate process and what you get for the things that you do, how much you get. Next slide. Oh, our sustainability division is led by our wonderful Dawn Hawkins Dixon, our associate director, who also will be on the line at the end to answer any questions for you as we move forward with the presentation. Climate action. Okay, so the climate action. So here's what DOE is seeking Prince George's County residents who are at least 16 years of age. The director wants to, what we're trying to do is we want them to serve on a resident advisory group for climate action and environmental justice. Now, this group will help with the development and the climate action implementation plan. Let me slow down, implementation plan. Now, here's the exciting news. This is the very first climate action plan in Prince George's County that was adopted by County Council. So this is a good time to make history. So you can be a part of history of being a part of this a resident advisory group for our climate action plan implementation. Next slide. So here we just want to talk about our PGC litter track. So this is a mobile work on a smartphone where you could talk about all the trash that you've collected, how much you can collect, how much you've collected, so the county can count for all the trash that's being collected in Prince George's County. Please take a look at this slide. We also have some Growing Green. We'll have some training workshops. You'll see the next one be October the 4th, and then we'll have one on October the 11th. They will explain all about the PGC litter track on smartphone mobile. Thank you. Next slide. And now we'll move to our Resource Recovery Division, which is led by Marilyn Newman, the Associate Director. She will have Mr. Tim Richards, her deputy, who will be on at the end to answer questions for us as well. We want to talk today about the community cleanups. The director is very excited about the community cleanups here in Prince George's County, but what she wants to do is she wants to get more new communities to participate in our community cleanups. So if you have never, ever been participated in a community cleanup, please put your written request in to Miss Woodland, and you can email her at dwoodlen, WOOLEN, @co.pg.md.us. You will have this slide so you can refer back to it. They're very excited. We will offer training for you, so you'll get training. But you want to be a part of that because we can bring roll-off boxes to your community. We can come right to your community where your community can start putting anything they want to get rid of into those roll-off boxes, so we can clean up the community and beautify it again here in Prince George's County. Thank you. Next slide. We had an exciting time with our electronic recycling household hazardous waste community event that we just had last weekend. It was such a success that it was so many people that we didn't even think that many people was going to show up, but we're excited to know that this is what it takes. People brought in old televisions, big screen. I mean, you can think of computers, and you think about it during COVID, most people went out and bought new computers because they're working from home. So a lot of the old computers and things they had to turn in. So this is a great event. There are more events will be scheduled. We have 4 waste disposal events for fiscal year 2023. The events will be rotated around Prince George's County. So dates of the 3 more events will be posted, and you see here where they will be posted. So please take a look. We'll be coming to your community soon. Next slide. Now, curbside composting, just want to let you know, everybody knows now that we're now composting in Prince George's County. So if you want to be a part of that, please join in with us on composting your food scraps. We're one of the first in the nation to do so. We're excited about that as well. Next slide. Curbside bulky trash pickup. This is a great new process we started here in DOE, where you can now in the community, you can put out 2 bulky items beside your trash on your collection day. For your regular trash, you can put 2 bulky items out there, and the trash truck will pick those up. And remember, during that time, it can be furniture, it can be hot water heaters, you can put lawnmowers out there, push them more, you have to take the gas tank off. We'll even take mattresses, but you have to make sure they're in a protective plastic encasement. All right, we can take some carpet as well, but you got to make sure they're rolled up and they're tied on each end. So please take advantage of this. You don't have to wait and make appointments any longer for that. So you can put 2 items out there. You know, some items that you cannot do, like white goods or tires, you still have to call 311 to make those appointments for those items. Next slide. And here's just a slide to let you know how you can contact our communications section. We're so excited in DOE for all the new things that we're doing, and get ready for our Sprout mascot. He's going to be all over Prince George's County. I just want to highlight him one more time. So thank you again for our presentation. And remember, please put your questions in the chat. They will answer them as soon as we can. And at the end, we will have our associate directors on to answer any questions that you may have. Thanks again. I certainly appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I'd like to welcome to the virtual platform DPW&T's Public Information Officer, Paulette Jones, another wealth of information and an absolute consummate professional, always on point, always an example for the rest of us to emulate. So as soon as we scoop things around a little bit, we can show Paulette. we get Paulette up?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
There you are. We can hear you now. We can see your lovely face.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So good morning
Okay.
and welcome to the fall edition of the Community Partners Meeting. I'd like to first thank my colleague from the Department of Permitting, Inspection and Enforcement, Avis Thomas, for being such a gracious host today and for your wonderful presentation. And also acknowledge I call him my partner in crime, my other partner in crime from the Department of the Environment, Miss Linda Lowe, for your collaboration and partnership that we have together. We have some exciting developments in the Department of Public Works and Transportation. We have a new director. His name is Michael Johnson. Unfortunately, he's not able to attend today, but we also have an incredible new deputy director, Olashay Olabinley. She has been with us actually for about 6 months, and we're just truly proud. We are Prince George's proud to have the new innovative leadership in place that has already made some great things happen within the department. So today we're going to be talking about subjects that we know are near and dear to your heart. We're going to be talking about the unprecedented litter and mowing blitz that is taking place. I'm actually going to be leaving this meeting early to do an interview about our litter blitz. But we're also going to be talking about our Growing Green with Pride effort, the semi-annual cleanup event that many of you participate in. We're going to be talking about the FTA Low-No Zero Emissions Grant, $25 million grant that the department has received for our electric buses. And then we're going to be talking about road resurfacing and PAMs. So many of my DPW&T colleagues are on the line today. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have for DPW&T. You can place them in the chat box. And also, we're so fortunate today that through this leadership, we're able to develop a communications team. So I have my colleagues, I have Molly Babcock, our graphic artist who's just sitting across from me. I have Khadijah Wickham, who is our community relations liaison, and Naoma Belasami, who is our intern. So we have quite a interesting presentation for you today. So I'm going to stop talking. And I believe first up, can we bring up our presentation, please? First up, we're going to have our Deputy Director, Olashay Olabinley, who is going to talk about this incredible litter blitz that we have going on right now. Olashay, can you please step to the virtual platform?
I'm here. Good morning, community partners. Thank you so much, Paulette, for your efforts, and also to the communications team. I continue to be impressed and grateful for your work. So I'm so excited to be here this morning. As Paulette mentioned, our now new director, he's no longer acting. He officially was confirmed by the county council yesterday, and his swearing in is at the same time as this meeting. So he will not be able to join us, even though he really wishes to be here. There are so many great things, as Paulette mentioned. You can go to the next slide, Molly. And, you know, I think Brittany put in the chat about the litter and mowing blitz. And we all know that Prince George's County has a litter issue that we all have a part to play in. The county executive herself has championed DPW&T to not just do things like before, but expeditiously tackle the cleanliness and like the aesthetics of the county, right? So she often says, the county executive often says, litter doesn't grow like grass. And so we need each of you who are on in this Zoom meeting today to be a part of making sure that we keep trash and litter off our roadways. So under the leadership of Director Johnson, we are quadrupling our efforts in really three simple service areas. So one is litter, the second is mowing, and the third is sweeping. For litter, you know, we used to collect trash and litter off of our roadways and primary collector roadways every 2 weeks, but now we are ramping up efforts. So on routes and roadways that are heavy littered roadways and hotspot locations, we're going to be picking up litter twice in 1 week. So there are about 141 roadway locations where we're going to be doing that. And then for the other roadway locations, we're going to be picking up every week. And so that is a major change that we've seen as well. For our sweeping program, we're ramping up those efforts as well. We used to do only one cycle in the spring and another in the fall, where we're going to be completing a cycle every month on our county and primary collector and arterial roadways, and even eventually expanding to residential streets as well. You can go to the next slide. For our mowing efforts, you know, we used to mow every 2 to 3 weeks on primary collector roadways. We're now going to be doing that every 2 weeks. In the rural areas, which are pretty much in South County, we used to mow about every 6 to 8 weeks. Now we're going to be ramping up to every 3 weeks. So there really is a call to action to really get all of us. I think, Molly, you can go to the next slide. I don't know if you, yeah, there you go. So it's, you know, similar information here. We're going to be ramping up our efforts on the rural roadside areas as well. And, you know, it's really important for us to see this as an effort that involves all of us. You know, we launched this last week in September 19th, last Monday, and it was just incredible to see the response. You know, we had to not only use our existing in-house crews and our contractors, but we are soliciting new contractors and really beefing up internally to be able to do this throughout the entire county. So you can see some of the images here where we were able to go out last week, and we're continuing to push this through for the next 120 days. You can go to the next slide. I do believe we have a video. Go ahead and play that. Uh-oh, we can't hear. Yep, we can hear it.
They're starting with this one. This is one crew here, but they'll be spinning up another 2 crews in the coming days before they actually mow. And that's to make sure that you don't spread it all over, because the mulching mowers will spread it and become even more messy. The equipment they're using are called zero-turn mowers, so it allows them to turn very rapidly. The guy can ride on the back and sort of is very maneuverable to get around trees, and it allows for very efficient operation. So you find that crew can actually mow the entire medium in a very short period of time. So there's a lot of production in that. So this is a regenerative air sweeping machine. It's more powerful than the broom sweeper, which is traditionally used. What it's really good at is picking up fine particles. It can pick up a lot of the nitrogen and phosphorus that's in the road sediments, and that helps the stormwater, the quality of the stormwater runoff. The multi-faceted utility piece of equipment, it can push snow. With here, it's using the boom arm to do roadside cutting for open areas. This is used more in the rural parts of the county or parts that have where the curb and lots of vegetation on the side. And you see how very efficient it is in terms of cutting a clear path, keeping vegetation.
So it's really great to hear people in the chat saying that they've actually seen us out there, and that's encouraging. I saw a question about locations. We are working on, as you saw in the press release from the county executive, we provided specific areas of where we'll be this week, and we'll continue to make sure that we share with the public general areas of where we are. So thank you again for your support. It really takes a village as the county executive always says, to get there. And that includes each and every one of you. So you're going to hear also from Paulette to talk about how you can get involved in the Growing Green with Pride.
Okay, thank you so much, Deputy Director Ola Bentley. As you all know, Growing Green with Pride is near and dear to my heart. You can bring up the next slide. I believe, do we have Mike Brown on the line? I thought I saw Mike.
Yes, I'm here, Paulette.
Okay, all right, great. So can you go, so Mike, would you like to do the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Mike Brown is critical and essential, as we all are. But as it pertains to Growing Green with Pride, he's critical and essential. So thank you so much, Mike, for being on board, for taking time out of your busy day, because he actually also is quite involved in the organization of our Litter Blitz. So take it away, Mike.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your kind words, Paulette. Good morning, community partners, and welcome to our fall community meeting. My name is Michael Brown. I work in the Office of Highway Maintenance in the Department of Public Works and Transportation. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. I just wanted to come to the forum and share some information with you regarding our Growing Green with Pride Cleanup Day, which is planned for October 15th, next month, actually. And we have been preparing ourselves and gearing up to provide supplies, cleanup supplies, and planting supplies to all of our volunteer groups that will be participating. I do want to encourage as many of you as will to sign up. The application is available there online. The information there is provided there. I believe the deadline for applying for the cleanup is October the 7th, but we would still encourage as many of you to submit your applications and go out and volunteer in this great effort as possible. We will be planting trees and shrubs, flowers and perennials and things of that like in this particular cleanup in public spaces in our on our roadways or at our schools. So again, we need as many volunteers as possible to do that, as well as go out and collect roadside litter on our roadways. I know that there is a PGC litter track training workshop planned by our sister agency, the Department of the Environment, which is a training workshop that will train volunteers to enter the quantities of litter by the number of bags and identify the location of where those bags were collected. Those dates are actually September the 27th, October 4th, and October the 11th. This is will be a virtual training exercise. So we encourage as many of you as will to sign up and register for that particular training so that you can take your cell phones or mobile devices with you on the cleanup day and report out that information for us. There are a few important dates that I wanted to emphasize. Next slide, please. In regards to plant material pickup dates and locations, our homeowner associations, civic associations, churches, and private and charter schools, we're asking that you may pick up your supplies here at our facility beginning on Tuesday, October the 11th, through that Friday, the 15th, between the hours of 8 to 3 p.m. On Wednesday, October the 12th, between 5 to 8 p.m., we'll have staff available after work hours on Wednesday, October the 12th, to distribute supplies, planning supplies at that time. And on Saturday, of course, on the cleanup day, we'll be also distributing supplies between 8 to noon. Litter supply pickup dates and locations would begin on Wednesday, October the 12th. And again, that would be after work hours between 5 to 8. And for Thursday through Friday, October the 13th through the 14th, during regular business hours, you would also be able to pick up your cleanup supplies, which would include litter grabbers, gloves, safety vests, and trash bags. Then, of course, on Saturday, on the date of the cleanup, you could also pick up your supplies between the hours of 8 to 12. Again, the application deadline is on Friday, October the 7th, but we would just encourage you to continue to submit your applications, and we will try to accommodate every order supply to the extent that we don't run out of supplies. The materials for the municipalities that are participating are actually being picked up at the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission Randall Farms Maintenance Facility, and the address information is there on the application. I do thank you for your time. I hope that as many of you as will join us on the 15th, and let's clean up the county and make this a very proud county to live in, and to share aesthetic and environmental appearance, to improve the aesthetic and environmental appearance of our county. As our deputy director indicated, the county executive is strongly committed to this beautification initiative, and it will take the participation of all of us to make this a success. Thank you for your time, Paulette, and have a good morning.
Thank you, Mike. We really, truly appreciate you and all the work that you and your crews do. This is probably one of my favorite Growing Green with Pride activities. The fall, it's a semi-annual event, but the fall is particularly exciting for me because this is where we actually get to plant shrubs and trees and beautiful flowers, which I just absolutely love. So thank you again for all that you do. Molly, if you could go to the next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, this is exciting times in DPW&T as it pertains to a grant that we were recently awarded. We have our Associate Director, Samaya Hackett, Associate Director with the Office of Transportation, who is going to share some really amazing information with you this morning about our zero emission vehicles. Samaya, if you could step to the virtual platform, please.
Good morning. Thank you, Paulette. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to share our exciting zero emissions program. As Paulette mentioned, we kicked this program off in 2020, just before COVID, and we're excited to share the progress that we're making with our zero emissions. Next slide, please. As mentioned, in 2019, we received our first federal award under the Low to No Emissions Grant for $2.2 million, which supported our initial purchase of 4 zero-emission all battery electric buses and 4 charging stations with 12 electric dispensers. We were also awarded in 2019 Volkswagen mitigation fund that allowed us to purchase another 8 battery electric buses. And in 2021, we received an award for $5.1 million to purchase additional vehicles and to expand our charging infrastructure throughout the county. And our most recent award was notified in 2022, this year, of the FTA low to no emission grant award for $25 million, which we're very, very excited about. This will really push us to moving closer to our goal of reaching 70% of zero emission vehicles in our transit fleet by the year 2035. Next slide, please. Over the next couple of weeks, you will notice that our first set of 12 buses have arrived. And over the next couple of weeks, we will be putting those buses into pilot service to start the testing and piloting phase of the vehicles. So you'll notice that the buses will be shadowing buses that are in service, but the electric buses during this trial period and pilot period will not carry passengers. So we anticipate that this will kick off in 2 weeks and run for about 6 months. And we will do continual analysis and trials of the service areas with the electric buses. Next slide, please. So when we look at the new FTA award, the $25 million, that is our large award that we really anticipate making the hugest impact on our zero emissions and environmental impact within Prince George's County. This grant was written to supplement our fleet with an additional 20 zero emission buses. We'll include 8 en-route chargers, which will allow us to charge while the buses are in service at various sites throughout the county. We also are proposing to install a microgrid, which are the solar panels, which will allow us to harness our own energy and store that energy and allow us to be able to function outside of the electrical grid. Additionally, we will be providing electrical upgrades to our existing facility, which will allow us to do on-site maintenance of the battery charging systems and on the vehicles. And what I'm really excited about are the training and workforce development opportunities that this grant will bring. We are developing and working with partners to develop workforce development programs that will allow our residents to learn this new cutting edge technology and be able to become employable in not only Prince George's County, but in the surrounding jurisdictions in battery electric technologies. Next slide, please. So again, talking about the training and workforce development, we were doing internal trainings with our current driving staff and our maintenance staff, and we will finish training our first responders and internal staff as well. Next slide, please. And Paulette, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samaya. As I said, these are exciting times in DPWT. We're looking forward to seeing the rollout of these new electric buses on our roadways. But speaking of our roadways, we're going to now segue to our final presentation, part of our presentation, and that has to do with road resurfacing. So we have on deck Mr. Noah Donahue. Are you there, Noah?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much. Noah is going to now do our presentation on PAMS. And I guess you'll have to explain, Noah, what PAMS is.
Right. Thank you, Paulette.
Uh-huh.
Good morning. My name is Noah Donahue. I'm a project manager for Prince George's County Office of Engineering and Project Management, and I'm one of the co-managers for the PAMS program. I'm here today to talk about PAMS, or the Pavement Assessment Management System. To start, first off, what is PAMS? PAMS, it's a multifaceted geodatabase we use to track over 2,000 miles of county maintained road. This includes their maintenance responsibilities as well as their PCI, which is their pavement condition index, or their condition status. PCI is a 1 to 100 ASTM approved rating system for the condition of the pavement. And how this is collected is an assessment vehicle is driven down every road in the county to be assessed and is laser scanned to detect cracks as small as 1 millimeter, in conjunction with photographs taken every 50 feet. And then these are sent to a certified pavement engineer for assessment of the types of damages or failures. And this includes, type, size, location, and density, as well as severity. And we use this information to calculate the overall PCI for each section of road. And then when this extensive assessment is complete, the data is then imported back into our database, and we use this for scheduling our maintenance work. And why this assessment is so important is that if we can attack these problems in the most effective means, when they're the most cost effective, we can reduce overall costs of the county as well as keep the entire network in good working order. And we're actually currently scheduling the roads to be driven and assessed in the next several months. So you may see these assessment vehicles driving down your street as soon as maybe December of this year. Next slide, please. Its other main function is coordinating project efforts through various agencies as well as utility companies located within Prince George's County. This data is published on a web map that's publicly available for anyone to use. Utility companies and other agencies can then access this information and see our planned projects in a given area. This helps with reducing instances where you have one agency come in, they do work resurfacing, and then 3 months down the line you have another company come in, tear up the road that they just resurfaced, and come in and dig it, trench it up, and have to do it again. So this helps with scheduling your work. So it's like, okay, you're going to be doing work here, you're going to be doing work here. Then we coordinate, then you just have to resurface it one time, and it's more cost effective for everybody. And then it limits disruption to community members. When any utility company applies for a permit to perform work on a county maintained roadway that includes paving work, the project is then put into PAMS by the wonderful staff at DPI to make their work known to us here at DPWT and the other utility companies, where they can see it on the public web map. I'd also like to point out that if you're a citizen and you ever have any questions about who maintains the road in front of your house, to check this web map. This is the authoritative source and a direct reflection of our full road maintenance book. And I'll include that publicly available web map in the chat. I believe that's it. Thank you for allowing me to talk about PAMS briefly. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the chat. Paulette?
I'm not, Paula, if you're talking, you're on mute, but we can't hear you. But that's pretty much the end of our presentation. So thank you again for your time. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you follow us on social media, for those who have social media pages at PG County DPW&T. And I'm going to hand it back over to Avis to continue with the meeting.
Thank you very much. Those were wonderful presentations, colleagues. Now, if we can clear the screen, we'll get ready for our Q&A. As we said at the top of the program, we'd like to take as many questions as possible. So if you're interested in asking a question, you can raise your hand. We've got some questions that have been placed in the chat, so we'll start off with a few of those. Somebody had a question about a 7-Eleven store on East-West Highway in Hyattsville. And I was speaking to Associate Director Carey about that as the presentation was going on. Val, can you get on and sort of talk about enforcing it at fast food places, convenience stores, and those kind of businesses?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. The county takes very seriously the property maintenance of its commercial properties as well as its residential properties. My zoning unit is responsible for inspecting and citing those properties for excessive trash, not painting the lines in the parking lot, and those types of violations, lights that are out, too much signage on the windows. So I will have my zoning inspector, and I know the 7-Eleven you're talking about, it's right there at like a triangle intersection where East-West Highway runs into Ager Road. If that's the one I'm thinking, I will have my zoning inspectors go over and take a look and see if we can inspect that property and issue violations and citations if they are in violation.
Thank you very much. It's at 2000, I think the address is 2000 East West Highway, and you're right. They mentioned that it's at Ager Road, okay? Here is another one. I have submitted several violations via the 311 app and by phone. They have closed out multiple requests and the problems were not resolved. It's time consuming going back to re-report continuing issues violations.
I need an address. So could that person please put the address in the, and what the nature of the violation is in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to send an inspector out if it relates to me.
Could you talk about, when your inspectors go out, if they deal with the situation and close it, why there's not sort of a continuing to go back to a closed case?
Before Val jumps in, Avis, I wanted to hop in and let everybody know that the county, under the county executive, is rolling out the new permitting and licensing system, Momentum, and it's going to have greater visibility for all of these kinds of issues. It also rolls up into 311 as we've updated 311, but there'll be opportunity for you to look and see specifically what happened at the address so that you get more closure on that. But with that, I turn to Associate Director Carey.
She just took my thunder. No. So what happens a lot of times is a person will put in a complaint. My inspector will go out, and if they don't see anything or don't see the complaint, they will close it. And then someone else will call, and then there'll be another complaint. So that may be what happened, but a lot of times, sometimes things fall through the cracks, to be honest. So I really would like an address. If you could give me an address, please, and we'll go out and look at the violation that you say is there, and we'll see what we can do.
And if you put your contact information, and we'll reach back to you.
For some reason, I can't type into this chat.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Here's one more for your shop, Val. If a complaint has been filed through 311, how long should it take to have someone investigate? It's been almost 2 years since one of our residents filed a complaint regarding commercial vehicles parked on the street and nothing has been done.
If you put a complaint into the chat and it's a property maintenance complaint that comes to my division, we are committed to go out and touch or see that complaint within 5 working days, which is 7 days. So my inspector should be on site to at least investigate it in 7 days.
I'm having a problem putting in a complaint with the new PTC 311 app on my phone. It appears that I need to be in front of the address that I am filing the complaint on. I wait until I get home. I also tried to set up an account on my computer, and that did not work either. So I have to call on the phone. We'll refer that one to PGC 311, and someone there can reach out. Actually,
the previous one that you talked about with the commercial vehicles,
right.
In our presentation, we do have the visual that shows the differences between commercial vehicles. I think sometimes the citizens get confused, right? And so I think if you just went over that real briefly, the different kinds of commercial vehicles that sometimes are not a violation and other ones that may be.
Okay. Should we have Ed pull that back up, or I can just pull it up here. I have a copy of the script. Okay. One of the complaints that we get all the time is for trucks that have, markings on them, trucks that have ladders on them, trucks that are obviously work trucks. And Director Bowling instructed us some time ago to come up with some information in a graphic. We have a better one online, but the one that was in the presentation will be there, and I will link it. I'm going to post some things on the website today with some of the information that people requested today, so you can access it. But of course, big tractor trailers aren't allowed. If you have trailers that are not attached to a vehicle, they are not allowed. You can't have the cab of a tractor trailer. You may have a work truck. Some work trucks, if the lettering has to be of a certain size and the lettering has to be less than 4 inches, right, Val?
Correct.
You may have a boat in your driveway. If the boat is covered, attached to a trailer, and has tags on it. We get people who don't like that, but that's the way the code is written. You may also, right, Val, you can have a pickup truck with ladders and big toolboxes and everything like that, as long as it's licensed, as long as it's parked appropriately, not on the grass, got to be on the driveway, and some of those issues. So if you, the graphic that will be in the presentation that you can access, and then also some of the information that I will put on the website today, we'll talk a little bit more about that. That should help clarify some of the vehicles that are allowed and are not. Thank you, Director Bullock, for that. Okay. How do you get a camera in a location that is consistently being used for dumping?
That would probably have to go to our partners over at the Department of the Environment. They're the ones who are currently in charge of the camera program for dumping and littering.
Right. Can somebody from DOE or DPW&T take that one?
Sorry, Avis, I missed the question. What was the question?
How do I get a camera in a location that is being consistently used for dumping? It's in the 7100 block of Livingston Road.
Sorry, Avis, I
I
was
was
trying
gonna say,
to
that's not a
unmute.
DPW&T.
Yeah, is if Tia is on, I did put back in the chat that you could send an email to the litter reduction at co.pg.md.us email to express that concern, and someone will follow up with you from there. But if Tia is on and wants to add anything additional, please unmute yourself and do so.
I am. Hello, everyone. This is Tia Rutherford, the Litter Reduction Program Manager. I would like to say, I'll turn on my camera for you all. I would like to say that all requests or concerns about illegal dumping and or litter should be entered into PGC 311. You also want to state that how chronic the problem is at this location and the kinds of items that are being left and how often they're being left. That may help the departments who are going to receive those requests to address that problem to now inquire as to whether or not the site will be suitable for the current technology that we have. You may also send those emails to litterreduction@co.pg.md.us, just as Linda Lowe has stated.
Thank you very much, Tia.
Thank you.
Here's one for DPW&T. I submitted a sidewalk repair request, say that 3 times, on May 10th, 2021. I have the request number. Can someone provide me with an update on the status?
Sure, we can provide you that update. And is it in the chat?
The identifying information, if whoever submitted that, if you could give them an address along with the date.
Right, we can follow up for sure. I also just, Avis, real quick, I saw a question from Reedy Butler about University Boulevard and any litter locations. So some of these locations are on state roads. So I did put in the chat how you can put in a service request for roadways that are on state roads. If you're not sure if it's on a state road or a county road, the PAMS link that Noah put in the chat earlier, you can enter in the address or roadway and click on the roadway, and it'll let you know if it's county maintained or state maintained.
Thank you very much, Olashay.
No problem.
Here's another one. Someone would like assistance with, they've reported 8 vehicles, 8 unregistered vehicles, a boat and a tow truck on a property. Ma'am, if you could, Ms. Foster, if you could put the address of those in, or send an email to Val Carey, and she will, she can have her staff take a look at that for you. My email address is at the end. Val's is on that page, the 3rd page of the presentation. So you're welcome to send a direct email to her, or to just put it in the chat now with the address, and then she'll have somebody check that out for you. The other one is, I have an Airbnb in my area, and the owner allows people to rent her yard for pop-up shops, food vendors, video shoots, and parties for non-rent of the dwelling. Excuse me. Also, we have many complaints from residents, and the police are called to the property on many occasions. Is there assistance we can get with these kinds of issues? How do you guys investigate that, Val?
So what we'll do is we will contact the owner of the Airbnb and advise them what they're legally allowed to do as reference to their license. And we're hoping they have a license. If they're not licensed, we'll start there. They have to be. And then if they are licensed, then they're conducting letting these pop-ups come onto their property. That is a violation of zoning. And so we will advise them what they are and are not allowed to do on their residence as it relates to our license. If they continue to do it, then we will start issuing them citations.
Great. Alrighty, we have another one here. What is being done to remove all the signs posted on utility poles, et cetera, advertising that they will, something about that they'll purchase vehicles? These signs are a blight to communities. They are, we mentioned earlier in our presentation that DPI will be doing a sign blitz on the 5th. Paulette, can you talk about the work that you guys are doing right now? And if you guys would, like to take that question. Paulette, are you there? Or Olushay?
No, she's not there. So this question is about campaign signs?
It just says all signs posted on utility poles, et cetera, advertising.
What's the question?
So DPW&T, and I think this is probably a good question for DPI to fill in as well. DPW&T will remove anything that's causing an obstruction in the roadway, right? A safety hazard. But if it is in a public right of way, we will not remove those signs. Now, there is in code the requirement for those who are in a campaign, for example, to remove their signs after the election is over. But DPW&T will only remove it if it's obstructing, causing a safety hazard or in the roadway, that we would need to immediately remove for safety reasons. DPI, Director Bowling, or someone in DPI, do you want to chime in as well?
Well, where's Associate Director Carey? Because she leads the team that's going to be going out there to do our blitz to explain how we go about attacking this problem here in this jurisdiction.
Great. So in the past, we've partnered with, as Olushay has stated, the signs in the right of way are the responsibility of the Department of Transportation. However, we always partner with them. And we will go out on the same day at the same time and do what we call a sign blitz. We go out, we suspend our inspections for about 4 to 5 hours. And we send our inspectors out in the community to collect these signs because you're right, they are an eyesore. From the public roadways, from the signposts, from commercial properties. They're also illegal in shopping centers and those types of things. These blitzes do work, they do help. Our problem is sometimes we'll go down a road and pick up the signs, and by the time we circle to go back into the office, they're more back out there. So we're kind of swimming against the tide, but we are picking these signs up as we see them. Our inspectors, if they're on their normal route, doing their normal inspections, if they see illegal signs, they'll get out of their cars if it's safe to, and they'll pick them up. So we try our best to keep them off the roadways and out of the shopping centers.
One of the other things that has been, that our zoning person, Bill Edelin, has said is people should consider not patronizing those businesses. If somebody is littering your community with signs, advertising, cheap piano lessons and cheap window washing and et cetera, you may want to send the message that you don't like that by not patronizing those businesses. And then after a while, they'll get the idea that they need to advertise in a way that's not a pollutant to the environment. So we have one here. What is being done to prevent flooding in the Chilham Ray area? I've heard that the infrastructure has problems.
It's a good question. I think Charlie is on and can chime in, but Charlie, are you here? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
We've before Charlie chimes in here, the county executive and also under Director Johnson, we've heavily focused on flooding and what we can do to mitigate those types of concerns. We do know that because of climate change, we are seeing an increased instances of 100, 200 year, 500 year flood of storms and events. And I think there are different types of mitigation factors that we're taking, but we are looking at each area specifically. And I know Charlie has taken the time to look at the Chilham area as well. Charlie, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, and I'll definitely put my email information in the chat for you so we can follow up with more specifics on that and hit the exact location you're referring to. So But like Olashe said, Office of Storm Drain Maintenance, we're hitting it hard and heavy across the entire county, and we have jet vac trucks running. We have our crews focused on clearing culverts, ditches, everywhere we can. So I'll put my contact information in the chat, my cell phone and my email. So please let me know the information and I'll follow up.
Thank you, Charlie. Here's one for DOE. How can apartment communities and residents participate in the composting program?
Sorry, again, no, Roddy wasn't going to say. Eligible residents will receive a direct mailer to their home address if you are eligible to participate in this composting program in this next phase. Those who do not receive a mailer will be included in the next fiscal year for fiscal year 2024. So it's being done in phases, and it will only go to residents that receive curbside trash and recycling collection. If you only receive recycling collection in the county, you are not eligible to participate in the county's program. But if you receive trash collection from the county and your recycling collection, you will be eligible to participate in the program at no cost to you.
Thank you very much. Here's one. What is being done to repel the influx of rodents from the DC area and in business construction? It has to be a pet-friendly solution. Who can take that one?
Ms. Avis, I'll chime in on that just from my prior history, but if you're talking about rodents such as, rats or mice and stuff around, that's more of a health department issue. So that wouldn't be anybody on this line to talk about, but the health department do have a hotline that you could talk to regarding rodents. So they might want to go on the health department's website and look that up.
Okay. Ms. Miles, hopefully you heard that. If you have any additional questions after that, you can reach out to me this afternoon or put your phone number in the chat.
Who is speaking? I'm sorry. I'm trying to find your face on the screen.
I'm sorry. It's Avis Thomas Lester from DPI. I was just saying, Associate Director Taylor talked about you reaching out to the health department. If you need help, finding contact information for them, you could reach out to us and we can help you with that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Now we're looking at, and I don't see hands raised. So, we can take some questions from the floor if people would like to. We'll take another couple from the chat. If anybody wants to raise your hand, go ahead and do that electronically, and then we can take your questions. Okay. Here, and if there's anybody on the call, any of the experts who have anything that they'd like to say to add to their presentation or something helpful that they've seen related to a question that's been in the chat, feel free to chime on in here. Can we talk about what the process is for participating in the curbside composting program? Brittany Garner answered that one. How will the number of residents living in a home based on the available space the county allocates be measured in real time? Homes purchased as single-family homes are now governed by this standard, and many homes have become overcrowded rooming houses. Val, can you take that one?
I was hoping you forgot I was here. Okay. Overcrowded rooming houses. That has been a problem. It is a problem. It increased during the pandemic. It's tricky though, because if someone has their relatives living with them, there's not a lot we can do. If we can prove, we being my zoning unit can prove that a person is renting rooms without a license or conducting that type of a business, a multifamily dwelling without a license, we can move in and try to assess fines and violation notices. It's just sometimes kind of tricky proving that. If we can, what helps is if we run into somebody who's leaving the home and we ask them, just make conversation, say, do you rent there? And if they say yes, then we're off and running, because you have to have a rental license in this county to rent your private home or your condo. I know the parking is a problem. I know that that creates a neighborhood nuisance. It's just sometimes we can hit them with violations if there's too much trash being accumulated and not being collected properly. So it's a nuanced inspection, but we can get out and attempt to investigate it. And if we can confirm that it is a rooming house, we can indeed cite them for that. And if need be, take them into district court for it.
Thank you. Here's a shout out here to DPW&T. Ms. Adelia George says, I've been noticing contractors picking up litter in PG and noticed large trash bags on the roadside. Thanks everyone for ramping up efforts to keep Prince George's County clean. This is amazing. So congratulations to them. Okay, I see some questions here. Alexi Sanchez de Baldo, please. Unmute yourself.
Morning, how are you?
Good morning.
Thanks everyone for all you do for us. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
You are aware of all those We Buy Junk cars, paper signs that are posted on every single wooden pole in the county. Some of them are 3 or 4 inches thick, which means there's hundreds and hundreds of paper signs underneath the one on top. And it's been like that for 20 years. And I've spoken to PG County before, and they said the numbers on there are throwaway numbers. But those people are soliciting your business, which means all the county has to do is call and find out who is buying those cars and then start issuing violations. And why hasn't the county done anything about this?
Thank you for the question. Val, can you take that one?
Well, actually, it isn't. Yes, I can. And I know it is frustrating, and I agree with you. And we do that. My zoning inspectors will call some of those numbers, but they're burner phones. Like you said, they're throwaway numbers. And when the person on the other end, sometimes we can get them to admit that they're running a business illegally, and we do find them. But they're getting smarter, and they ask certain questions that we can't answer. And we're calling from mostly county phones trying to block our numbers. So it isn't as easy as it sounds, but we do exactly what you said. We do call some of those numbers from time to time and try to find the person on the other end.
Why don't you get the police involved if it's so difficult? This is like investigation 101.
Well, we do work with the police department.
Okay. This has been going on for 20 years, so it's, the excuses are starting to wear a little bit thin. I'm sure you can.
I understand your frustration, and you have to understand that, like you said, as we develop an investigative technique, there's always a way around it. And burner phones have been a big problem for us and the police department, I might add. So we're working on it. We do the best we can. I think the best advice is, like Avis said earlier, one of the best things to do is just not patronize the businesses. If they're not getting any success from these polls, these advertisements in the right of way or on the polls, then they may stop.
By the way, you can find the guys posting those signs every day at 9 or 10 o'clock on University Boulevard in Langley Park. I mean, you can see them doing it. So I think you need to find an alternate method to deal with this issue.
Thank you so much. So we're going to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Thelma Murray Fisher.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, let me say this has been a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I am the president of Lake Arbor Civic Association, and we'll be having a general meeting soon. And I wanted to know, who do I contact to inquire if they could have come to our meeting regarding the trash pickup? Or I should say, maybe it's the trash and the recycling, and the mere fact that the recyclers leave trash. They come late at night or not until Saturday. So I was just wondering, who could I contact to maybe get someone to come out and speak to us at our meeting?
Can DOE take that?
Yes, Miss Fisher, I'm going to put my email in the chat. If you can access that.
Okay.
Or do you want to write it down now?
I can write it down now.
Okay. LMFisher as in Mary, Lowe, Lowe, at co.pg.md.us. Please just send me an email telling me what day and time you would like someone to be present at your meeting. And we will see, check our availability and try to make sure we get someone out there or join you on your virtual meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Ms. Carolyn Edwards?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have enjoyed this presentation, although I arrived a little late, but the couple of questions that I have, and I did put it in the chat, so I just need to find it. I'm sorry. I had a question. You had talked about vehicles parked on the street that may be illegally parked because of the type of vehicles they are. I'm just wondering, in terms of a pickup truck with a trailer with wrecked vehicles parked on it, is that considered legal?
Val, I see you.
Yeah, it can be considered a commercial vehicle. Is there someone from from Revenue Authority on this call?
I don't see anybody.
Okay. You might, that is the agency in the county that handles illegal vehicles parked on the street. And I think I know what you're talking about. Recently, there's been an influx of private citizens taking their, to get extra money, taking their Ford F-150, let's say, and hooking a trailer to it and hauling vehicles and parking vehicles overnight. Yeah, that has been a problem for them, and they're parking them in residential neighborhoods.
Yes, is that legal?
They are working on. Yes, ma'am, it is. Yes.
Oh, it is legal.
No, it's illegal.
Oh, it's illegal. Okay.
Yes, so it's considered a commercial vehicle. So I'll reach out to, if you can put your information in the chat, I'll reach out to the, and tell me where these vehicles are parking. I'll reach out to our partners over at Revenue Authority and have them check the area.
Okay, and a lot of times this is occurring on the weekend as opposed to during the week, or it's occurring late, late night, late in the evening, so after hours.
Yes, yes. And what they do is they go to the auction in Pennsylvania. They get these vehicles, they put them, a lot of them are in disrepair. They buy them, they put them on the trailers, and they bring them down into the county to sell. And you're right, they park them in all kinds of all the residential areas.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what's your name so that I can give you my information?
Valerie Carey.
Okay, great. And the last question I had is regarding rental properties, because I know someone talked about that and saying that, a family is living in the property, it's a little more difficult, I guess, in terms of it being a rental property. But does the county have a database of rental properties, or is there any public access to information about what rental properties are in the community where, people live? And I ask that because I live in an area where we are a single family housing community, but there are multiple families living in homes where houses have been converted for that purpose.
If the houses are converted for that purpose, that's illegal construction, and that is a violation. The problem we're having is sometimes there's no illegal construction going on in the home. They're just letting a lot of people live there. But if you could please give me the address, if you could contact me directly and give me the address of these residents where you believe this illegal conversion has happened, we will investigate it.
Okay, and I'm sorry, is this Valerie again?
It still is, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
And Avis, could you put my information in the chat? Because for some reason, I can't type it.
I will do. It's also on the graphic, on page 3 of the graphic that will be posted on the website too, so I'll put it in there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Monroe, Patricia Monroe. We can't hear you, ma'am.
We have a major problem with people selling food at the Home Depot on Oxon Hill Road. And at one time, for a couple of weeks, you all went out there, it got cleared up. Went out there last week, they're back again. It is not only an eyesore, I know that them selling food out of the trunks of their car is illegal. I've taken pictures again. How do we get this under control? Because you can go to Home Depot anywhere, Virginia, Waldorf, none of them allow that to happen. But somehow or another, they found a pocket. And if the police are not sitting there 24/7, they're selling food, which is against the health department's regulations. How do we get this taken?
I'm sorry, Ms. Murray, it's 9 minutes. I want to get that, and then we've got some other hands raised. Val, can you take that one?
Yes. So quick answer, I'll have an inspector out there this weekend. We will see if we can catch them in the act. Also, another quick answer is, you're right, we will hold the owner of the property, i.e. Home Depot, accountable and start finding them. That might encourage them to keep their parking lot clean of vendors.
Thank you, Ms. Monroe. Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Benita Bratton.
Good morning. I have a question. I'd like to know how I could get a copy of the notice of violation that should have been issued to my condo. We had an inspector come out. There were over 20 violations and more occurring. So where can I get a copy of it? Or else it's called the notice of violation, because the property manager says he doesn't have it, yet he's complied with all these issues, which is not true.
Ma'am, you can email me directly. I'll make sure you get a notice. I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And we had, Miss Alma Edwards.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My question is that I am having a terrible time with my trash collection each week. I may have 2 cans sitting out beside each other, and they will take one, but they won't empty the other. And I end up calling 311. They have a history. They almost know me there. I'll be calling them constantly to report it. So who do I go to with this issue? I don't know what the issue is between the county and the contractor. It's bait, trash company. I don't know what the issue is, but it seems like it's happening too often.
This is Special Assistant Taylor, Rodney Taylor with DOE. I'm gonna give you my email. If you can write it down, email your address and your contact information. I'll reach out to you and maybe I'll come out and visit you and we can find out what the problem is, get that taken care of.
I would appreciate, what is your
My email is R as in Rodney, C as in Charles, Taylor, TAYLOR at co.pg.
POW.
CO dot.
Oh.
PG dot MD dot US. And it's in the chat.
Thank you. Now,
Okay.
We have
Thank you.
people, there's a gentleman and it says Patricia Monroe under your name, sir. If you could unmute yourself.
Yes, I don't know how that happened. Good morning. This is Herb Jones.
Good morning.
From NACA. Just two real quick questions. One with respect to, I don't know if Ms. Hawkins 311 is still on the line. I know the 311 system has been revised, and I wanted to know whether or not those complaints from maybe 18 months ago have been totally moved over to the new system. One, and then two, in the explanation part, when you get an update in terms of the 311 complaint, and you call back for clarification. And I know it's not the 311's representative's responsibility to give you that, because there's someone else within the agencies that have written up the complaint. They really can't expand on that. So one quick example, I was asking for the possibility of an air quality monitor in South County. The response I got back from 311 was, this has been closed and taken care of, something to that effect. But it hadn't. The response basically had been, you know, we felt, when I called back, we felt that there was no need for air quality monitor in South County. So my follow-up question to the 311 person was, what agency made that determination that there was not a need for a air quality monitor in, down here in South County, given the fact that we have none and we have, you know, maybe some issues with ambient air being close to 210, the two trash transfers, not trash transfer stations, but landfills, et cetera.
Mr. Jones, I'm
yes.
sorry. We don't really, I don't know, have a 311 able to respond, but I will connect you personally with Jennifer Hawkins from 311 on the go right after this meeting. I'll make sure that she has your contact information and you have yours. And Jennifer is really responsive. I'm sure she'd be happy to reach out and give you a phone call and you guys can have the opportunity to talk.
Yeah, but she was on this call earlier, am I
Yeah,
correct?
but this is the 3 agencies, and so we're sort of obligated to let people who can't.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. You know, we won't let you down. All right, thank you. Ms. Regina Foster, I think this may end up being our last question.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry. Did I see earlier in the slide where you talked about 311 taking tires through their bulk trash services?
Yes, yes, that is correct. You would need to call the PGC 311 to schedule an appointment for that pickup.
Does that include municipalities?
Oh, you're in the municipality? No. Is
So-
Tim, are you still on?
Yes, I'm still here, Linda.
That's correct, right?
That is-
Municipalities do not qualify.
That is correct. Municipalities are not a part of the a part of that. They if you are in the municipality, you will need to reach out to your direct municipality for assistance with the actual tire removal from your property. Now, the other thing that that you can do if you are inside of a municipality is that you can bring no more than 4 tires to the physical landfill to have it disposed of at our tire lot to be able to dispose of them properly. So you do have that ability to do that. You have the ability to bring those tires to the landfill, but we only accept no more than 4 per resident, obviously coming into the facility to be able to dispose of those, dispose of that material.
Does that give you the information you need, ma'am?
It's helpful, but it was disappointing at the same time.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we have a couple of more questions in the chat. We're coming in for a landing here. There's a schools question. We'll send it over to the public information officer at the schools to respond to. Somebody here says they wanted to complain about pop-up mobile car washes on Forbes Boulevard. Because it's Forbes at Loxford Vista. So we'll make sure that the Val's zoning team has that information. Let me see here. All these questions that are in here that we won't have the opportunity to get to will be, we record the program and we have a printout of the chat. So we'll make sure that everybody's question will be responded to. So if you asked a question, if you put a question in the chat and we haven't had the opportunity to get to it, please make sure that you put your contact information in there and we can have somebody respond to it and get back with you later on today. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll be gathered here in December for DPW&T's it'll be everybody's community partners presentation, but they'll be hosting. We would love to see you every 3rd Thursday of the month at DPI for our 3rd Thursday communication sessions. Watch each of our websites and let us know how we can continue to serve you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.